This sounds like a good idea, a museum to honor New Mexico's long, proud military history. In fact, the state has already spent more than $1 million to make that idea a reality. But the military museum has now become another casualty of state government's bad habit of paying a lot of money to start projects that it cannot afford to finish. Here's Dean Staley on special assignment.
New Mexico has a rich and extensive military history.
The Code Talkers, the Bataan Death March people, very unique to New Mexico.
Then there are the state's labs.
One very obvious unique thing is the development of the atomic bomb.
And that's just World War II.
3,000 miles from home.
Back in 1916, another important event.
An American army is fighting for you.
When General Black Jack Pershing led the pursuit of Pancho Villa after the Mexican outlaw raided the New Mexico border town of Columbus.
That was the first use of aircraft and mechanized vehicles in American military operations.
And 2 decades before that,
over half of Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders were New Mexicans. Fascinating part of our history.
So fascinating, in fact, that 4 years ago, state lawmakers voted to create the New Mexico Military History Museum. In 2007 and 2008, lawmakers authorized more than $1.6 million in state funds for the museum. About $1 million have gone toward designing the museum building in Las Cruces. The rest is going to a company that designs exhibits, and this man.
The design of the museum.
Joseph Long helped set up the National Museum of the Marine Corps in Quantico, Virginia. He is the New Mexico Military History Museum's only employee so far.
And I'm traveling all over the state visiting with veterans groups to tell them about the project and to get their input.
The New Mexico native is paid nearly $123,000 a year.
There's a rich military history here.
But while the state was flush with cash when the project began in 2007 and 8, that money has dried up.
The availability of monies to the state of New Mexico for such a project has long since disappeared.
Lawmakers refused to allocate any money for the project during this legislative session. The museum is estimated to cost between $25 and $30 million to build. But officials don't yet own the land in Las Cruces where the museum is supposed to be built.
We barely have enough funds to keep the current museums we have operating.
And don't forget, the state is already chock full of military museums. There's the museum here at the New Mexico Veterans Memorial in Albuquerque. There is the Bataan Military Museum in Santa Fe. There is the Vietnam Veterans Memorial State Park in Angel Fire. And also the Navajo Code Talkers Museum, set to open in the next year or so near Gallup.
Where that is their primary focus, ours encompasses the entire history of the military within the state of New Mexico.
State Senator John Arthur Smith is co-chair of the Legislative Finance Committee and a self-described budget buzzard.
The state can't afford another museum, and furthermore, the state doesn't have the operational money if it was built.
Even so, organizers plan to apply for federal grants and solicit private donations to get the Veterans Museum built.
We're hoping to open Veterans Day, November the 11th. 2015.
Despite the price tag for the more than 176,000 veterans in New Mexico, that is good news.
I think it's a great thing.
It makes us remember them and honor them for what they did.
Dean Staley, KRQE News 13.
New Mexico already operates 8 state museums. That is more than any other state.